Welcome to the second episode of This Week in Sports Betting, where we try to find you the best angles to make money for you, the viewer, and ourselves, the sports handicapper. I am your host, BP311, joined always by my co-host, TJSaltdog. We've got Dolceto back with us for some soccer picks, and we brought in Matt Kowalis from Detroit Sports Bettors to talk about the NBA playoffs. I'm just going to run through a quick recap of my plays from Thursday for you. I did go 3-0 in the NHL. 0-1 in the MLB. The Cardinals lost to the Brewers 5-1, unfortunately, but the Red Wings got it done. They were about a plus 300 money line, and they beat the Hurricanes 3-0. The Blues covered a 1.5 puck line, 6-2 victory over the Sabres, and the Golden Knights won 6-1 over the Flames, and I took that game over 6 goals. So 3-0 in the NHL, 0-1 in MLB, 3-1 altogether yesterday. Let's roll into the weekend, guys. It's Friday. Dolceto, what are you looking at in soccer this weekend?
Well, I will do a little recap of what happened last week.
Yeah,
quickly.
go ahead.
We all saw that Napoli game was horrible. I mean, they had their chance to win the league and they blew it. They straight up lost at home. So I can't say anything much about that game. Sorry about that. But the next game was the Liverpool double chance that won, and that was a crazy game. I don't know if anybody watched it, but it was probably the best game all year long. And Manchester City probably deserved to win, but hey, I'll take it, So,
I was watching that game. I had Liverpool money line, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Another draw in soccer,
Yeah. That's why I took the double chance. It was still out, like minus 123, whatever it was, and we still won. But yeah, it was a great game. Don't get me wrong.
They were fighting at the end.
It was a great. Oh yeah, it was a great game. I mean, I honestly, I've watched thousands of soccer games, and that was probably one of the best games up there that I've watched. And it was just back and forth the whole game, nonstop. So
we got a rematch.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's for the League Cup now, I think, for the FA Cup. I think it's next weekend.
Semifinals.
Well, they have that, and they have the Champions League. Possibly, if they both beat their teams, they could meet up in the final in Champions League as well.
And that's on Saturday, right?
That's on. Yes.
They play tomorrow at 10:30 in the FA Cup semifinal.
Yep.
You got anything on that one?
No, I'm not gonna touch that because both teams just played last couple of days, and there was no lineup predictions. It was very hard to see who was going to be in, who's going to be rested. And so I just left it alone. Do you have anything on that?
I do. I haven't. It's the only one that I took, and I kind of took a flyer on Liverpool because they're the home team. It's a pick 'em basically, minus 110 on both sides. But Liverpool's home, so I took them on the money line.
I mean, they're a very, very strong team. Don't get me wrong. They still have a chance to win the Premier League. I'm not saying that they don't, but Manchester City just played such a dull game in Champions League a couple of days ago. It was horrible.
Madrid? Me and Terry had a parlay on that, and that killed it because it was a draw as well. So, I mean, Manchester City's got to lose at some point, and that's basically what I'm rooting for here.
Now, is that the game they were rolling on the ground, acting like they were hurt all the time?
At the end,
yeah. I hated that.
Yeah. But it was a good game.
What do you like this weekend?
So this weekend, I'm gonna go to another team that I really hate. Hate is a pretty strong word. I dislike. That's Arsenal. And Arsenal money line is tomorrow. They play Southampton. They're playing away. It's even money on BetMGM and BetRivers. You could find it anywhere else about 105, minus 105, minus 103. Okay. It depends where you shop. But the reason why I like it is Arsenal is 3 points away from Champions League. This is all they have to play for. They want to be in the top 4 to play in Champions League next year. Southampton is currently, I think, 11th or 12th. They have nothing to fight for. They pretty much saved themselves from relegation. Arsenal, however, lost Thomas Partey, who is a huge key to the team. But I saw the lineups. I see that Martinelli's still going to play. Bukayo Saka is playing. They're going to have the whole back is going to be in line. Granit Xhaka is also going to be playing the defensive midfield. And this is a huge game for Arsenal. They must win. They have lost 2 in a row, which was kind of like a shocker last week. They lost to Crystal Palace 3-0. It was probably the most embarrassing loss all year long. But also Southampton played Chelsea last week, and they got dismantled. It was like 6-0 loss. And in the last 5 games, I looked at Southampton has lost 4 and drew once. And I think that Arsenal is going to be after this game. They have nothing else to play for, and they must win. They're in a must-win situation because Tottenham, Manchester United are right in there in the fight for that last 4 spot in the top 4 in England. So I like it as much as I don't like Arsenal. I'm going to have to root on Saturday, And then I like one more game on Sunday. That's in France, and I'm just giving you courtesy here. Just bet it and check the score at the end because it's gonna be an ugly game. It's gonna be the biggest sweat. But we're gonna go Olympique Lyon and Bordeaux. We're gonna take the spread plus 1.5. So we're gonna go Asian handicap here, and we're gonna take plus 1.5 for Bordeaux. I looked at their recent form. They're second to last in the league, and they have to fight for every point they can get here. And Lyon is in the middle of the table. They just lost embarrassingly at home yesterday to West Ham in Europa League, 3-0. And Lyon has pretty much very slim chances of making it into Europe next year. And Bordeaux are a huge team. I mean, they were always in the mix in the top 3 the last 15 years. But last couple of years have been really bad. They're about to get relegated, so they have everything to fight for here. And in the last 10 games, they have covered this line 6 times, where they have lost by 2 goals a couple times. And I really like it. Lyon has, they have only covered the minus 1.5 once in the last 10 games. They're on a 3-game losing streak. And I think that Bordeaux will play very defensively. They're going to count on counterattack. And they might lose still 1-0, but as long as we cover the 1.5, I think that's they're going to have to go all out. There's no other option, or they're going to get relegated, which that's millions of euros there that they're going to lose if they get relegated. So I like it, but I'm going to check the score at 1 p.m. I'm not going to watch the game. I'm not going to follow the score because I'm probably going to get a huge headache watching it. So
maybe not the most entertaining game. What kind of number are you getting on that? Plus 1.5 seems like a fairly safe bet.
It was minus 105 everywhere I looked at.
Okay.
It was spread everywhere. MGM, DraftKings, everybody had it at around like 105. Like minus 105. Like minus 104, like it all depends where you look at.
Yeah, it's not bad for what seems like a pretty safe bet when you see a lot of draws in soccer.
Yeah, exactly. And even if they lose by 1, we still gonna win the bet.
Still cover.
Yeah, and Lyon just played last night, so going back a couple days later against a team who has been off for a whole week is also a positive for us on this aspect. So I like it, and hopefully we'll win.
Well, I appreciate the picks. Dolceto, you want to hang out and talk some NBA with us, or you got to take off?
Yeah, I will. Okay. I will, of course.
Yeah. All right, Matt, what are you looking at tonight? We got a couple games, and I keep seeing the lines moving. I'm trying to keep up with this, but we know Paul George all of a sudden is not going to play. I'm going to give out my pick quickly because I took it yesterday, and I got the Pelicans money line at plus 155. That number no longer exists. Pelicans now a minus 112, and the last time I looked at it about 10 minutes ago, and it may have changed already, they're a 1-point favorite. Against the Clippers in the late game tonight for the 8th spot in the West. What are you looking at on that one, if anything?
Yeah, so for that one, I'm with you. I'm a Pelicans guy. I've been the Pelicans since the play-in tournament started. Depending on what sportsbook you use, the Pelicans to win the play-in tournament was around plus 450, and that was something that I was on as well. This is a very slept-on team, and a lot of people don't realize that they're coming together kind of the last minute, somewhat as the season came to an end, heading into the play-in tournament and the playoffs. Adding back Brandon Ingram into that lineup and giving some time for him and CJ McCollum to mesh. And then you have a nice third option with Jonas Valanciunas. They're just a better team than that of the Clippers to me. And without Paul George, it's one of those situations where it's definitely like, okay, you have to go to Pelicans. So it's like one of those where it's like, it's a little weary. You know what I'm saying? Too good to be true. But I'm still riding with the Pelicans. I think CJ McCollum is one of those players who's kind of waited for this moment. And he's become the primary ball handler as well. He's very good at distributing the basketball, getting Brandon Ingram involved, running that pick and roll with Jonas Valanciunas, and even role players like Herbert Jones. So I'm really on the Pelicans. I like the Pelicans a lot in this game. And for me in this game too, one player prop that I was on was Brandon Ingram rebounds. It was at 6.5. I like him to go over here. I think the Clippers might take a second to get going, especially without Paul George. I think they're going to be relying a little too heavy potentially on Reggie Jackson and Norman Powell. I haven't seen Norman Powell's line, but I'm sure it got moved up to like 20, 21, 22.5, somewhere in that range. And I think that's a lot to ask for someone who's just coming in, getting around 25 minutes coming off the injury. So I do like Norman Powell, but I don't know if I like him enough at that spot. I think it's a lot to ask for. I think a good spot might be Reggie Jackson assists as well. Reggie Jackson has over-under of 6.5 assists in this one. And I think they're definitely going to depend on Reggie to distribute, try and get other guys going like Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac. Zubac has a tough matchup with Joval, but Joval's also been one of those guys who's known to kind of get in foul trouble. So I do like Zubac as well. I believe his rebound was around 8.5. I think that's a pretty solid number. When he gets his minutes and when he sees 25 plus, which I think he will here because big body, I think he would go over that rebound prop as well. So for me, that would be where I would kind of be leaning on the Pelicans. You want me to pivot into the Hawks and Cavaliers as well?
We'll go around for a second. Everybody else got pitched. Harry makes his own numbers. What do you got in the Pelicans game tonight, Terry?
My numbers come out with Clippers minus 5.5 point favorites. But like Matt said, with Paul George being out, and then it drops it all the way down to -1 for New Orleans. Mm-hmm. So I still like Clippers money line at plus 180 or wait, what was it? It's plus 108, -108, right?
-107, -108 right now.
So I'm going to wait till almost game time, and hopefully that goes up in the pluses, you know, because it's dang near a pick 'em right now. Mm-hmm. But like Matt said, the Pelicans are playing real good ball. Ever since they got McCollum, they have been snappy, man. I like them. And when they get what's his name? The one that's hurt, didn't play all year. Zion. They get him back if he plays with them. Yeah. I personally think he'll be gone at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I really do. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yep. But if he stays, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
I like the Pelicans even to beat them with Paul George in the lineup, so I definitely like them to beat them without Paul George in the lineup. Dolceto, you got a pick on this game, one side or the other, or just an idea?
I'm also, I'm not a big NBA. Like, yes, I do follow it. I try to follow like guys like Matt and you and other guys who bet more of the NBA. But I know that since Kawhi has been gone and now without Paul George, it's Pelicans or nothing in this game. I think there's no other goal.
I agree. All right, Matt, go ahead and pivot into the early game.
Yeah, so for me in the early game, I'm going to be going with the favorites here. I'm going to be on the Hawks. And I would say typically I probably would be Cavaliers here if they had Jarrett Allen plugged into the lineup. And he might play tonight. It is 50-50, so that is kind of one of those things. I love Jarrett Allen's defense, and he has definitely been progressing along in terms of the offense. And that's a big thing for Darius Garland as well, running that pick and roll, getting Clint Capella away from the basket. So that is a big thing, and it definitely plays a factor to me if I hear that he's going to be playing. So right now I'm definitely on the Hawks, but like I was saying, if Jarrett Allen was plugged into the game, you get Clint Capella a little bit away from that basket more. Another play that I like, though, is the Hawks. With the Hawks game is the Hawks play very little defense. They play an uptick offense, so a higher in terms of pace. So I like Garland to get going, and I like over his 8.5 assists here. LeVert had an absolutely dreadful game in the first play. I don't even remember what he shot. It was like 2 for 14, something along those lines, brutal. So generally, if a player does that, I take him to bounce back. I like playing players when they're coming off that down game. And I think Darius Garland will be looking to feed LeVert. So I do like LeVert over 15.5 points in this matchup as well. That's another thing that I'm going to be looking to. And then the main guy that I'm going to be on is Trey Young tonight. I love Trey Young. He even had a down game last game, and he ended up with 26 points. This game, he's at 29.5. They run that pick and roll so well with him and Capella, and if Jarrett Allen does not play, then Mobley is going to have to stick his ass towards the basket more so. And I think Trey Young's going to get that floater going. And if they hedge too much, then you float it over the top to Capella. So I think it's going to put Cleveland in a bad spot. Trey Young didn't make as many threes as he typically does last game. I think this is the one where he gets it going.
Gotcha. I mean, I liked the Cavs when the number was a little bit higher. I think they were getting a few more points yesterday than they are now. It's only a +1.5 at this point. I didn't pick a pick on this game at all. It's almost too close to call. Jarrett Allen's listed as probable. Terry, you got a thought on that when they list them probable, questionable, doubtful, all that kind of stuff? You got maybe a percentage that you think that's staying 50-50. If Jarrett Allen's listed probable, what do you think his odds are of playing tonight?
Oh, wow. I don't think he's going to play tonight. I really don't.
No.
I mean, and if he does, I was just going to take one little slap on that hand. It's going to re-break that finger. That's all it takes. What I'm on tonight is the total. It's 222.5. And Atlanta, man, the way they're up tempo, I think they're going over. My number is 235.5. So I'm going to lean towards the over.
Nice.
Dolceto, you got any thoughts on this game here with the Hawks and the Cavaliers?
No, I have no input. I'm just gonna follow you guys, and I'll just bet whatever you guys like. I do like the over. I like overs in basketball. I hate to root for the under, especially in a game total. So, Terry, I'm with you there.
Oh yeah. Now Matt,
like
going back to that last game, Matt. Pelicans and Clippers. The total's 215.5. I think it'll still go over without George. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd be with you there. I think that's a lower total. And now that the Pelicans have everyone, they have CJ, they have Ingram, they have Jovel. That's a lot of shot makers. That's a lot of people who can get it going pretty quick. And I think the Clippers are going to want to come out with a little bit of pace here. If you allow the Pelicans to come and get set up with, running the switches with Brandon Ingram, with Jonas Valanciunas, you can have a lot of mismatches out there. So I think if I'm the Clippers, I want to run more of an uptick style here to try and prevent those mismatches from maybe the Pelicans or whatever it may be. So I'm with you there. I do think they're going to be relying heavy on like Norman Powell, Reggie Jackson, and even Marcus Morris. But, last year in the playoffs, even Terrence Mann had a crazy day one time. So they have some guys who can slide in and potentially get the job done. Regardless, Paul George or not, this Clippers team has definitely surprised some people this year. So I still expect this to be a very competitive game.
They've won some good games without George.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. And they have been without Norman on top of that for up until, I believe, last game. So
it's going to be a good game. I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, I'm so excited. Like when I wake up in the morning and there's like NBA like play-in, playoffs, or just NBA in general, like I'm counting down the hours till 7 p.m. hits. I can't wait.
I'm a little more excited for the Pelicans-Clippers game than I am for the Eastern Hawks-Cavs, but I think they'll both be really good close games, and obviously the lines reflect that. So if you want, we can roll into Saturday a bit and the first round games. I've got everything pulled up here, and we're looking at – hold on. I had it. Let me get back to it. We got the Jazz favored by 5 or 5.5, depending on where you look, against the Mavericks, with looking like without Luka Doncic. So you have any feelings on that one?
What was the line again?
Jazz -5 against the Mavs.
Yeah, I'd probably be on the Jazz there. If they don't got Luka, that's just that's the heart that makes the team go. He just does so many things, and he creates so many mismatches, finds so many open shots for people. I definitely like the dynamic of Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, I do think Spencer Dinwiddie is a very good bench player. Powell has been playing a lot better. I don't know if Maxi Kleber is still hurt or not, but they just don't – to me, they won't have the offensive firepower to keep up with the Jazz there. It's going to be – without Luka, it's just too tough in my eyes.
Yeah.
Kleber's out.
Okay.
I didn't pick Yeah, that's what it says on Action Network. I did not take a play in this game specifically, but I did take a play in the series, and I took the Dallas Mavericks at plus 230 to win the series as a huge underdog. I think Luka will be back by game 2 or 3, and I think he's going to play his heart out with no matter how delicate his ankle may be. I mean, that's just the kind of player that he is. He's going to leave it all on the court. So I think that he's going to really push them. I don't think they got a chance at a deep run this year, but I think they can get past the Jazz, the Jazz, who generally choke in the playoffs every year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got on that, TJ?
My numbers have the Dallas Mavericks as minus 2.5 point favorites. That's because you got to take the numbers from the past 5 games. But yeah, without Luka, that number ain't nothing. And I'm with Matt Dunwoody. I like him. And Brunson, you and me were just talking about Brunson before we came on here. But still, I'm not against Utah. Donovan Mitchell, that boy's going to go off with Luka out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he puts up 40 tonight.
He does tend to pick it up once the playoffs start.
That's right.
He really does. He tends to take over. So I'm with you there. He's a good person. Once the playoffs start and you see his point prop, I always take his over in the playoffs because Jamal Murray. It's sad Jamal Murray's still hurt. I used to love his player point props going into playoffs as well. They're both like two guys that once it starts, I don't know what it is, but there's just an uptick.
Okay, now the total's only 209.5. Another over for me.
Wow, that's
low.
That is low, dude.
Dallas does play some Monster D though.
I'd have to think about that one. Yeah, that's a tough one because part of me is Dallas slows it down big time, and I'm just not sure. I don't know because I could see Dallas losing by 20, and literally it being one of those 108-92 games or something like that. You know, so that's my only thought there. But I feel you. I 100% hear you there.
That's an awful low.
Utah could put up 120, 125.
That's right. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, I hear you. I get what you're saying.
Torn on the total. Dolceto, you got a thought on the side here with the Jazz and the Mavericks tomorrow?
No, but like Matt said earlier about Luka, without him, they're a different team. So I'll probably have no action in the game. And every time I see a over at 209 that low, I am always so worried about going over because it's there for a reason to be so low. So I will not be touching that.
Right. All right, we can roll into game 2 tomorrow. It looks like, hold on, we have the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies are favored by 6.5. Matt, you got thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so for me, in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised at all if I would take Timberwolves plus 6.5, honestly. And I think that
Right.
And I think the only reason for that is the public is going to be crazy heavy on Memphis. Memphis is the sexy team coming into the playoffs. And don't get me wrong, I really, really enjoy Memphis. But I do think a lot of people sleep on this Timberwolves team. This is a team where I think they're good enough to maybe scrape at least one game, potentially 2. They have a lot of offensive firepower in terms of Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is one of those guys where, dude, you give him 7 games, however long this series is, one of those he's probably going to put up 40. And he can get that game for you just in himself because he's one of those guys, too, where once he starts clicking, he continues to go. And that's kind of what's been occurring as of late. He's really been playing confident. He was talking shit to all the Clippers saying they don't want to guard him. He's ready to roll right now, and I think he's just going to slide right into this series against Memphis. So I would be in the T-Wolves plus 6.5.
What about in the series? The T-Wolves are the second biggest underdog in the first round that's out right now at plus 260, while the Grizzlies are a minus 330. I think this series has the potential to go 7 games. Do you think that the T-Wolves have a shot at winning the whole thing in round 1?
Personally, I do not think they have a chance at winning it. Karl Anthony Towns is just one of those guys. I think he needs an offseason here. I think he needs to get better defensively. I think he needs to get a little more discipline. Steven Adams is not a fun guy to go against for any defender. And I do understand that Karl Anthony Towns does drag people out to the three-point line and things like that. But to me, it's just going to be too tough. You got John Morant. Desmond Bane is quickly becoming a superstar in this league. Another season under him and John Morant together could be incredible. And then you're coming back with Dylan Brooks is another guy, huge spark plug. He can go off for 30 almost anything or any night. You got Steven Adams, you got Jaren Jackson, again, who's one of the best defensive players in the entire league. And then you probably have the deepest bench in all of the NBA potentially to back it up. So I think for the T-Wolves, that their biggest issue is somewhat their bench. Their starting five is great. They can compete with anyone in terms of offensive output. But it's actually their bench that they need to beef that up a little bit, especially to compete against a team like the Grizzlies. But I rated this series 4-2 Memphis. I did give the T-Wolves 2 games in this series.
Well, you said a lot of good things about Memphis there. I mean, do they have a chance to win the East? Do they have a chance to go all the way to the championship, win the championship potentially this year?
I personally think they do. A lot relies – to me, the Suns are the Suns. They're playing great basketball. They've got a great defensive team. I think DeAndre Ayton is still a very slept-on player in this league in terms of what he can do each and every week. They just have that great dynamic, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. But the two teams that I would be looking out for would be, yes, the Memphis Grizzlies, because I think John Morant has shown that he can compete with absolute anyone. He can take the game over just like anyone. And, at the beginning of the season, the Warriors were my pick because of their bench, getting Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga. They're a very deep team too, but they do have that question mark with Steph Curry right now. And, hopefully Steph comes right back and plays his style of basketball. But to me, Memphis has just as good of a chance as anyone to take down the Eastern Conference.
Nice. Well, it sounds like Steph's going to play. At what capacity will he be at? That's a question mark. And we don't even know. We don't know about that yet, but we'll get to that. Terry, what do you got on the series we just went over with Memphis and the team?
My numbers has the Memphis Grizzlies -1 favorites. Then of course I use FanDuel, so they got it at -6.5. I'm with Matt. I think Minnesota's going to take this game by +6.5. They'll cover that, but will they win? I don't know. Memphis has been proving that they can win without John Morant. I mean, they're just as good without him than they are with him. Mm-hmm. And then when their starters are on and their bench comes on, they don't lose nothing. They are good. They're my sleeper right now.
So
talk about the total, 235.5. My numbers have it at 261. You got to look. These two teams score in the 120s and 130s. That's what these two teams score in. So I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over.
This series is juicy for sure. Like me, I definitely run more player props and same game parlays, as a lot of people generally know. I will be all over this series in terms of same game parlay. It's going to be fast. It's going to be offense. Like, I can't wait for it.
I don't hate the total, Terry, where it is. I don't like your total so much. I wouldn't go that high. Dolceto, forget about the game. I know you make your own number. Dolceto, forget about the game. What do you think about the series, Grizzlies and T-Wolves?
Well, I do want Memphis to win because of my boy Jaren Jackson, but because he's a Spartan. But other than that, I saw something yesterday about Jaren Jackson player props, about points. Total was over 15.5, I think it was. And there was a stat that he averaged about 8 free throws a game, just alone, Wow. So, and I saw that Minnesota's defense was ranked 25th to points allowed. And I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the player props, like as far as the NBA goes. Maybe Matt knows more about it. But when I saw the total, I was like, I have to mention it to you guys. So it was over 15.5 yesterday. I don't know where it is now.
It's the same. I just checked it.
Is it? So maybe, Matt, you have an input about that. But because I saw last time he played him, he got 17 or 18 points, I think it was.
Oh, yeah. No, Jaren Jackson, especially, he's someone who will benefit from John Morant returning as well. They run very well together. He's someone, too, when you run that pick and roll, one time he might go to the basket. The next time he might stay out at the three-point line. So it does. He's kind of a question mark, and he opens up their offense more, especially with Ja. So, and then two, Well, Jared Vanderbilt. That's who he'll be facing off against. So Jared Vanderbilt, he's far taller than Vanderbilt. He's a bigger body. So in all aspects of basketball, honestly, he kind of benefits that matchup. I doubt Karl-Anthony Towns would be on him. That wouldn't make a ton of sense to me. And even in that matchup, Karl-Anthony Towns does not move his feet well, especially if he has to come out and guard at the three-point line. I mean, we saw his debacle and when he fouled out in the last game. So that is somewhat – people don't realize that that's somewhat a common theme for Cat because many people don't watch Minnesota all the time. But that is one area that Karl-Anthony Towns definitely needs to improve, and that team as a whole, because they can compete with anyone in terms of offense. It's their defense that typically lets them down.
Yeah.
We got the 76ers and the Raptors, with the Sixers favored by 4.5 points tomorrow. Maybe a little bit on the game and the series. Who wants to? Terry, you want to start us off on this one?
I got no play on this but the over. My numbers are only a 3-point difference than the sports books on the spread. Once again, Matt, 216 is the total. These two teams are going to blow that total out of the water.
Yeah.
Especially if Harden comes to play. He hasn't looked good the last couple games.
Yeah.
So.
That's I think James Harden is definitely one of those people you're going to have to keep an eye on early in this series and see how he's performing, things like that. One thing that I want to point out is Pascal Siakam has actually trends up when he plays tougher teams throughout the NBA in terms of assists, in terms of rebounds, in terms of points. So he's someone that I would definitely be keeping an eye on in this series, whether it be his point prop. Even his assist prop has been a very, very consistent one, especially going against stiff competition. It's generally hovering around 4.5. If it gets up to 5.5, I let it go. 4.5 is kind of that magical number for me where I'll take his over. And his rebounds sometimes hover around 7.5. That's a magical spot for me as well. If I ever see that, I always take that because he is an undersized center, In terms of Joel Embiid, I would definitely take a look at his assist prop. That's something I haven't explored just yet. But the only reason I say that is because the Toronto Raptors are small. They don't have a true center. Pascal Siakam is their true center. So when Joel Embiid gets that ball against the Raptors, and you can even go back to when they played throughout over the year, he gets doubled almost every single time. Wherever he is on the court, they send two guys at him. So that ball is going to be coming out of Joel Embiid's hands. And, he does have shoot. And again, it does kind of come down to James Harden. James Harden, he worries me nowadays, I'll be honest. But, you got Tyrese Maxey. You got Thibault who can shoot a little bit. You've got some guys who can make some shots. Tobias Harris, he's another spark plug guy. But just for the strict fact that I know Toronto is going to be just doubling Embiid all day, I think his assist prop will be a good spot to check it out. And usually it's sitting at like 2.5.
Dolceto, any thoughts on the series between Toronto and Philadelphia?
I have no input. I will just follow your lead, guys.
This is probably the toughest one for me.
Toss.
Well,
this is a coin toss. This is a tough one. I would lean with the 76ers, who are favored here. No action on the game, no action on the series right now. It's just tough to call.
It is, for sure.
We've got the Golden State Warriors favored by 6.5 points against the Denver Nuggets. I took the Denver Nuggets on the money line. And I also took the Denver Nuggets to win the series. So I think with even Steph coming back, I don't think he's going to be 100%. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And I think that the Nuggets are going to surprise some people and maybe make a deep run here. I don't think they'll make it all the way to necessarily the Western Conference final or anything, or the championship, but I think they're going to make a run, and I think they're going to get past Golden State. Plus 192 is where I got the series. Plus 210 now, so an even better line on that if you like it. And the Nuggets money line for tomorrow is plus 205. You got some numbers on that for me, Terry? Nuggets.
My numbers are the same as the sports books, bud. I mean, I got -5. They got it -6 for Golden State. So basically the same. And then the total is 223. If Steph could come out, usually when he comes back, he doesn't miss a beat. But that ankles he's been out for a while. So, but I'm not playing nothing on that game at all.
All right, Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, so for me, in this first game, especially with Steph coming back, I would tend to side with the Nuggets a little bit. But for me personally, I think it'll be more of a wake-up call. I think the Warriors still get this series done. Steph coming back is a huge thing. He's a double team waiting to happen. Wherever he is, you have to hedge him no matter what at the three-point line. Then you get Draymond Green rolling to the basket. That side defender comes over, and then you got Jordan Poole and you got Andrew Wiggins now. So, and Draymond, no one's really better in the NBA other than maybe LeBron James at driving to the basket and dishing out to those corner three men. So I really do like that dynamic. And then one thing I will say is I do think the Nuggets are a live underdog, and I hate saying that just because I'm such a huge Warriors fan. Steph's my favorite player all time. But for the simple fact that their biggest struggle is against the five. And Jokic is probably the best five, him and Embiid, in the entire game. So any time that your number one struggle is going to be against the five position and you're going against the best five in basketball, you definitely have a chance, especially one that can distribute the way that Jokic can. But in my eyes, he just doesn't have enough help just yet. Aaron Gordon is so hot and cold. And, I mean, who do you put on him? You put Draymond Green on him. I think Draymond could shut him down pretty easily. And then your next guy is probably Will Barton maybe Will Barton. And then Andrew Wiggins is one of the best wing defenders in all of basketball. So I think he's going to make it tough on Will Barton. I'm sorry. And then, I just don't think the Nuggets have enough firepower. And then personally, you have someone like Jordan Poole now who's really coming along. Jordan Poole can go off for 30 any night. Then you got Klay still. So Klay's a good defender as well. So that's one thing about this Warriors team that I do think is slept on slightly is how good they actually are defensively outside of guarding the five. That's their only weakness on defense. Then you have another guy like Moses Moody. Moses Moody is 6'7" and has like a 7-foot wingspan. Another great defender. You have Jonathan Kuminga coming off the bench, who's very young, ton of energy, plays good defense. So I personally see the Warriors just having too much offensive output. And then I think this bench is actually slept on throughout the NBA. And I think they're going to be able to come in and make a splash here.
Well, I like the Warriors as well. Steph's one of my favorite players, too. I almost wore the jersey today. I didn't, but I'm going against them, so it was hard to wear the jersey and go against them. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm betting with my mind and not my heart on this.
No, I respect it. I respect you. Call how you see it.
Dolceto, you got any thoughts on the Nuggets and Warriors?
I just I'm going to pick here from more of a fandom side. Nikola Jokic, he's my Serbian brother, so I'm going to have to support him. Being from the region. I do think that the Warriors are the better team, especially if Steph is healthy. But I'm going to support my brother there, and hopefully, they pull it through.
Terry, any thoughts on the series between these two?
No, not really. I think Golden State will win the series, but if Murray was there,
maybe
it'd be totally different. But if Curry didn't get hurt and Murray was there, Golden State's still the better team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, I don't even know what their starting lineup is going to be, in all honesty, just because, are they going to run smaller with Draymond at the five? Or are they going to run Looney at the five? Because once Chef comes back, it'd be Chef, Poole, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond? Or does Poole go back to the bench? What's going to happen here?
exactly.
So, yeah, I'm not even sure, but that's how many guys they really do have. And the only thing that slightly worries me is they haven't had a ton of time to mesh everyone together like that. But I think Chef is so creative. He draws so many double teams that you can get it a little faster when you have a player like that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I would guess that Poole would be Steph's replacement, for the backup team there. So for the B squad.
Yeah.
But who knows how they're going to play that.
Yeah.
We're going into Sunday. We've only got two more. The last two are yet to be decided based on what happens tonight. So Sunday, we're going to have the Celtics and the Nets, and Boston's favored by 4 points right now. I did take the Nets money line here, another underdog money line for me, plus 155 for Brooklyn. Your thoughts on that, Matt?
So I'll be honest. Brooklyn was my pick to win the championship. I believe I put money on them when they were plus 650. And I will say this, when I made that bet, a lot of it came down to Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not offensive. I could care less about his offense. Everything with Ben Simmons and me is his defense. Because you can't have Kevin Durant guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. You just can't do it. You're going to potentially get in foul trouble. He's wasting too much energy. You need Ben Simmons in that spot. So, like, for me, he needs to get his ass in the game right now because I put money on them and I want him in there. I'm not going to change my pick. Once I have a pick, it's set in stone. That's where my money's at. And Ben Simmons did do like that little emoji with like the smoke coming out. You know what I'm saying? And every time he puts that on Twitter, he plays. So he did post that. Dude, he better play because I need him. Like, and you got to think of it this way too. It's like even going against the Celtics, you have guys like Jaylen Brown and you have guys like Jason Tatum, and that's typically people. Maybe Kevin Durant would get switched on to, Bruce Brown, whoever it may be. Now, as long as Ben plays, that's Ben's assignment. And Ben is one of the tougher defenders in the NBA. He's long. He can rebound. He can outlet pass, which is huge because this team is fast. This team gets up and down the court. Kyrie gets it, gone. KD gets it, gone. Now you have Ben Simmons who can do the same exact thing. So this team is going to get really fast. And I understand I have a lot of respect for Boston this year. I think Boston's playing some good basketball. They're probably one of the better coached teams, fundamentals, and things like that. But KD, to me, is still the best player in basketball. I always try and side with the best players in basketball. Kyrie is really ramping up heading into the playoffs. And as long as Ben Simmons plays, and I know that's like an if, I'm still on the Nets. I still have the Nets to win the title here as long as Ben Simmons plays and he can come in and be that defender that they need them to be.
I didn't take any futures on the Nets as far as winning the whole thing, but I think they can beat the Celtics in this series. Boston, to me, I fade Boston a lot. I think they're really inconsistent. And Tatum, same way, very inconsistent on whether he's on or off, hot or cold, any given night. I'm just taking the money line straight up for the Nets in this game. Terry, what do you got on that?
I didn't handicap Sunday's games, but knowing what I know, Boston is playing good right now. Their offense is clicking, but I'm with Matt. If Simmons comes in, he's hands down top 3 defensive players in the league. He can guard anybody. And, of course, they don't play defense. But when Simmons comes in, they're going to play defense. They're going to see it, and they're going to feed off of him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one thing I'd even add here as well is a lot of people don't realize how deep the Nets even are. You know, you have a backup point guard like Goran Dragic who can come in. He's an incredibly good facilitator, very experienced, has a good three-point shot. Another thing is they haven't even been running LaMarcus Aldridge. And that also allows versatility. And what I mean by that is you can have Drummond run the 5. You can have Claxton run the 5. You can have LaMarcus Aldridge come in and run the 5 if you want to spread the court out a little bit. So it is nice to add that versatility into your lineup. You know, Drummond ain't taking no outside shots. We all know that. So that's just another thing that I like to add in there that people don't realize. LaMarcus isn't hurt or anything like that. He's just been a healthy scratch. And they may be saving him just for key games in the playoffs because he does have that mid-range jumper. You know, you do have that pick and pop with him rather than Drummond, who is more of a pick and roll straight to the basket. So that's just another thing I wanted to add about the Nets.
Boston's got no big guy to even combat with those boys.
Williams is gone.
Williams is gone.
Yeah,
you know?
Not even a big guy either. He's 6'9". Tice is like 6'9", 6'10". So, yeah.
Might be getting a value on the Nets at plus 110 to win the series. Dolceto, your gut feeling on the Nets and the Celtics in the first round?
Well, from what I heard here from you guys talking, and I want to lean more with the Nets as well. It is definitely worth maybe betting on the money line at plus 150 from all your comments and suggestions here. I think that Giannis is better than KD, Matt, but that's that's your own.
Yeah, I feel that. I can definitely understand that.
I'm going to agree with Dolceto on that one.
Yeah, but yeah, I will go with the Nets here.
I'm still a KD boy, but I get what you're saying. I get it. Believe me, there are some games when you watch Giannis, you're just like, no one in the world can stop him, and I understand.
Everybody doubted him, you know.
Mm-hmm. And here's my thing too with the Bucks and the Nets is this Nets team is better than last year, and they took them to 7 and potentially should have won if KD just backed his foot up just a little bit. The Bucks, on the other hand, are almost the exact same team, other than Grayson Allen, who, you know, he's a solid wing defender and he can score a little bit. I'd actually probably rather have Dante DiVincenzo. But yeah, that's kind of the way. I think this Nets team is improved, and I also think the Bucks team is very similar to what they were last year. But I mean, I get you. Giannis improving every single year is definitely going to add to this team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I like Goran Dragic. I like what he can do. I think he's going to have maybe a couple games where he comes and puts in 15 or something like that, 4 or 5 assists. I think he's a key veteran, and I like having those key veterans who have been in those spots before. Like I was talking about LaMarcus Aldridge. They have some good young guys too. Bruce Brown, very slept on, a good defender, a good rebounder, and he's become a very, very good spot-up 3 guy. And then in addition to that, you have Seth Curry, who's a great shooter. I should have reviewed the Joe Harris stuff, but people forget about Joe Harris. I don't know if he's coming back at all throughout the playoffs. Something I got to look at. But he's another great shooter for the Nets. So they just have a lot of options.
Well, we were talking about Giannis. We can talk about Giannis a little bit more. The Bucks are favored by 9.5 points on Sunday in the opener against the Bulls, and the Bulls are the biggest underdog in the series at plus 650 with the Bucks at minus 1,000. Are they just going to get steamrolled here? Is this going to be a sweep, or what are we looking at here?
I got my broom out for this one. I'll be honest. Yeah, I got my broom out for this one. If they squeeze out one game, it's going to be because DeMar DeRozan just goes absolutely insane.
50 points.
Leading into the playoffs, Vucevic has been playing awful basketball. He's never been a great defender. Brook Lopez is a very good defender. He's a long defender. He can come chase you at the 3-point line if you need to. So I think Vooch is in for a long series, and if Vooch is in for a long series, it just makes things so much harder for DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine coming into the series as well. Zach LaVine has not been playing great basketball. He's been very hot and cold. He had some good games, but he just hasn't been incredibly consistent. The only consistent guy has truly been DeMar DeRozan. Alex Caruso is just coming back from his injury. I think they miss Lonzo Ball. Their bench isn't the best bench in the world. Kobe White, he's a spark plug player as well. I just don't think they have enough. Giannis is too tough, and that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. No one can guard Giannis. And I said the same exact thing for Suns and Bucks last year. The reason I took Bucks was because I was like, what position? Who's going to guard him? Jay Crowder? Like, come on. Now it's like, who's going to guard him? Patrick Williams? Like, you can't have DeMar on him. You're not going to have Zach LaVine on him. So it's got to be Patrick Williams. And Vooch is one of the worst 5 defenders at the basket in the NBA. He is going to feast. Right? He should have 30 and 15 every game, with probably 5 assists to go with it. So it's a sweep for me. I would be I don't want to say I'd be shocked, but yeah, to me it's 4-0. That's the clear one. Maybe 4-1. Maybe if DeRozan has a 45-point game or something, but I can't see it.
The Bulls came out early in the season and surprised a lot of people, but with LaVine going out for as long as he was, and just nothing's been the same since he came back.
Yeah.
So I would side with the Bucks here. I'm not sure if I would take a spread of 9.5 in this game particularly, but what do you think about that, TJ?
I think the Bucks will sweep them. I'm with Matt. Yeah, they'll sweep. And I like Drew Holiday. He's one of the best point guards in basketball. I mean, look what he did last year in the NBA Finals. Him and who's the other guy besides Giannis?
Chris Middleton.
Middleton, yeah. With him and Drew Holiday and then Giannis, that's a big 3 right there for me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are good.
I think these guys could get back to the championship. We don't have a replay of last year, and I've got the Suns this time, but who knows? Giannis is amazing. What do you got, Dolceto? You like Giannis?
Yeah, I mean, he's also my other Greek brother, just south of the border. But I read a couple articles yesterday, and it seemed like everybody was leaning on the under. Again, I don't know if it was due to pace of the game, was it due to injuries? Again, I'm not as good as you guys are in the NBA, but I saw a few people giving tips as under 229.5, I think it was. I don't know where the number is now.
228.5 now.
Oh, so it went down. So,
Gotcha.
Well, if they get way up early, they're not going to have a whole lot of motivation to play their star players later in the game. So I wouldn't take any Giannis props here or anything like that. That's probably not going to happen. So it may be a little bit lower scoring on that side based on, I think the Bucks might get out to a really early lead. And if they're up heavy enough, they don't even need to play their stars anymore, hardly at all.
Yeah.
Well, we got two more. We don't know who they're going to be. So can anybody make a case for the Pelicans or the Clippers that could potentially compete or even beat the Phoenix Suns here in the first round?
No, I do think the Pelicans could get a game. I think it could be 4-1 series. I do think that. I think they're good enough where they could get one. But I can't. When's the last time that's even happened? Was it like when Golden State beat the Dallas Mavericks in like 2007, maybe? Something like that. Like Steven Jackson days, Monta Ellis, all those guys, maybe David Lee. I think that's the last time it would happen. So the number one seed is always pretty secure bet.
Yeah.
We got the same thing on the other side, but I don't see the Heat as being as dominant as the Suns, but they're going to play either the Hawks or the Cavs, and I can't make a case for either one of those teams against Miami either.
Nope. No, definitely not the Hawks. Hawks miss John Collins. No, just not going to happen. Can't see it.
Well, who do you think is going to win it all this year? I'm going to have to go with Phoenix myself. Are you sticking with Brooklyn, Matt?
I'm sticking with Brooklyn. I am sticking with Brooklyn. They've been my team since the get-go. I actually have two bets. Before the season started, I got the Dubs, the Warriors at plus 1,600. So I plugged that in beginning of the season. That's still riding, which could be great if they somehow faced off. And then I plugged Nets in probably a month ago at plus 650. And again, that did hinge on the Ben Simmons move. And I still think he'll play. He better play. But yeah, that's really kind of what that decision came down to, just because he's so versatile defensively. And again, it speeds up the game because he is a very good passer. I understand he can't shoot at all. But on this team, you really don't need to shoot because, like, you're going to have Kyrie, you'll have Seth Curry out there, you'll have KD out there. There's a lot of matchup issues. So I think he's in the right spot, and he definitely should be the right fit, but we just got to kind of see how it goes.
I've got the Bucks, I've got the Mavs, I've got the Warriors, and I've got the Suns. So I think I'm looking okay, but the Mavs, I'm kind of worried now with Luka. But
Yeah.
We'll see what he can do, hopefully, when he comes back, and I'm hoping for game 2 if, they're going to win this series, and I've got them to win this series. So anything else in the NBA, Matt, before we move on?
The only thing I was going to say is, like, when I make my future bets, and a lot of people don't always think about this, is I make futures to kind of hedge along the way. So, like, if the Warriors make it to the second or third round or something like that, and I got them at plus 1,600, what you can do is you can even bet money on the other team for maybe series outcome. If you have a good feeling about where you think the series might go, like in terms of games, stuff like that. So that's one thing that I'll definitely do is, like, and I will say I bet heavy on futures. So, like, if I have a plus 1,600, maybe I'll put 250 on it. So then I have $4,000 to work with. So then you can put $500 on the other team or something like that for a series. There's different ways that you can do it so you can kind of secure yourself along the way. That's just one thing I wanted to mention because I am a big futures player. I love putting futures bets down, but I do it once they hit the playoffs. I'm definitely hedging along the way.
So when do you put your futures in? Right before the NBA season starts?
Some of them, yeah. So I'll put them right before the season starts. I do the same thing with the NFL. And then with the NFL, it's a little different, but I tend to try and take the team that, like, I've had a pretty good year. I picked the Rams at the beginning of this year as well. So I got that one. But, like, along the way, like, one thing I'll say is I took the 49ers in the other one because you're getting plus odds on them. You might as well just throw something, secure yourself in case something crazy happens. But I do it generally beginning of the year. And then also ramping up into the playoffs. I love taking the hottest team in the playoffs. Like, one of my best calls all time was I took the New York Giants the year that they beat the undefeated New England Patriots team. And the only reason for that is, like, if you look back to that game or look back to that season, that Giants team was ramping it up at the right time. They faced the New England Patriots week 17, lost 38-35. Were the only team very close to beating them. Then if you remember their edge rushers, they had like Lucio Manora, Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, so they could rush the quarterback. So I was like, that's my team. That's my team. And so that was one that I was really good on, like Green Bay Packers back in the day with their first when they beat the Steelers. So I really like to take those I like odds. I'll be honest. I like odds. So because with odds, you have more options to hedge too. And then also the favorites don't always win. I mean, how good has like say Green Bay been every single year, and they haven't even come close?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I take them beginning of the season 100%. I will say this: I do have some solid connections with agents too, so I'll kind of get some whispers sometimes down the pipeline of what might be coming in terms of a trade or in terms of a pickup or something like that. And I'll make moves that way. Like some people get pretty mad at me in fantasy because like I knew Zach Ertz was going to the Cardinals like 2 weeks beforehand. So I literally,
really?
Yeah. So I'll do stuff like that. But
speaking of football, did you see the Colts sign Stephon Gilmore today?
I did. That's a big pickup.
To either
corner too, didn't they?
I don't know. My son called me and asked because that's where I live. I live here in Indiana. So
gotcha. Oh, nice. So you're excited then?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big futures guy. But my main time is beginning of the season. Generally, when everything is played out, like draft picks have been made, free agents have been picked up, stuff like that. Because then you can truly kind of sit down, evaluate it, look at the strength of schedule potentially, see how the matchups might fit together. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm a big beginning of the season futures guy, and I'll generally take one ramping into the playoffs. Like this was my Nets one. You know what I mean? And I took Warriors preseason. So I generally take two. And I try and do different conferences as well.
Okay. So Memphis is really on your radar then.
Oh, for sure. I like
they are trending now.
Yeah. That's one that I missed out on. Like I love getting some money down on those teams too. And I was on the Warriors, but I definitely missed the Memphis bandwagon. So I'm gonna try and catch on. Like I said, I love SGPs. I think that's a great SGP series. I also think Bulls Bucks could be a good SGP series, but it's going to be tougher because there's going to be blowouts. So you got to find that one game where like lightning strikes and it's close. It's like 135, 131. That's where your money's made. You know what I'm saying? Like with the SGPs and stuff like that. That's what a lot of people kind of don't realize. Like you got to pick that specific game. It's got to be a high total. It's got to be fast, and there's got to be opportunity. So that's kind of like where a lot of my specialty has kind of come from is like same game parlays, player props, because I came from DraftKings. So before all of like sports gambling became legal, I was doing DFS on a pro level. So I kind of transferred that, and that's why I like predicting box scores, and I like predicting like the same thing with the NFL, predicting what I think the player outcomes will be. And you get some pretty crazy odds sometimes too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I took the Braves right before the playoffs started in Major League Baseball last year. That worked out for me really well too.
Nice.
I'm going to roll into some hockey here. That's kind of my specialty, I guess. People say, I don't say it, but, why not? I'm just going to give you two for this weekend. One of them is going to be tonight. The Florida Panthers and the Winnipeg Jets is not a pick. This is just a lean, guys. I think Florida is a way better team who can cover a 1.5 puck line. But my pick tonight is going to be, and also a puck line, I'm going to take the New York Islanders minus 1.5 against the Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens are about the worst team in the NHL. Bottom three. The Islanders, they're respectable. So I think that they can get this done and win by 2 goals. Game's on tonight at 7 o'clock. And I'm going to give you one for tomorrow. And I got a lot of numbers on this one. You got the Minnesota Wild rolling in to St. Louis to play the Blues. And I'm loving this over 6. Right now I'm seeing it at minus 120. If you go over to Bet Rivers, whenever they drop this line, because I've been waiting for it, you can get a 20% boost on anything NHL on Friday. So you might want to grab onto that. If this thing goes to 6.5, I'm not worried about it. These two teams in their last 5 matchups have hit over every single time. They've averaged 8.4 goals in their last 5 matchups. The Blues, both teams have hit 6 of their last 10 overs as well. The Blues are the 15th best over team, hitting 52.7%, while the Wild are the 4th best over team, hitting 58.3%. I love this over for tomorrow in the NHL. Game's on at 3 o'clock on ABC. Anybody got any hockey or any thoughts on the picks that I just gave out? No,
I can't name one hockey player.
You're the only hockey guy.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Who's excited about the USFL that's starting off this weekend? Anybody going to catch any of that?
We're not talking about that.
I got one play.
Oh, that's up your alley.
I got one play, and it's a homer play. I'm just taking the Michigan Panthers minus 3 against the Houston Gamblers. Game's on Sunday noon, NBC. We've got Fisher, we've got Shea Patterson. And we're favored to win this whole thing, so I think we can cover 3 points
no
on Sunday.
way.
But I know nothing about. Nobody's seen anything yet. Nobody's seen anybody play. So
Michigan's already favored to win the whole thing.
yes,
They are. Yeah,
because of the coach, Jeff Fisher, right?
mainly because of the
I think
coach.
it's because of the coach. Yeah, I totally agree.
They got a former NFL coach. I don't know if anybody else does.
I love Fisher.
Yeah.
Anybody
I
going to
would
check
not
that out?
even on that for a few weeks until you see what kind of tempo
I get
these
it.
games are played at. You just don't know so much.
Dude, I remember back in the day, though, the XFL got a little exciting for a second. So
It did.
maybe that we could have. Do you guys remember the XFL? How they would have the 2-point conversion, the 3-point conversion,
Yep.
like the 4-point conversion. Like, oh my God, who was that old Pittsburgh quarterback who was the XFL guy? Do you guys remember?
I can't remember the name of my top of my head.
No, I'm about to look it up because he took Cordell Stewart's position.
Cordell Stewart, yes.
Yeah, he took his spot. God, who was he? I'm forgetting right now. But no, who knows? Like, I'm always down to watch some more football. Football's on. I'm probably watching. So I'm hoping the product can be a little exciting. I don't know. Where do they even play at?
They're all
Birmingham.
playing spot, yeah.
In Birmingham?
Everything's in Birmingham. No games are on at the same time.
Alabama.
Oh, okay.
So until they get some more stuff figured out funding-wise, all the games are going to be played in Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's how it works.
Now, does Alabama have a team?
Yeah, Birmingham has a team. That's the
So
only
there's a
market.
whole team all the way through.
That's the only market that's not an NFL market.
You know who it was? Tommy Maddox.
Tommy Maddox. Yeah,
Remember
I
Tommy
haven't heard
Maddox?
that name in a long time.
He was an XFL guy. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he's an XFL guy.
Well, you also know that, was it PJ Walker that's on the Panthers? He was
a newer
in
XFL
the
guy.
XFL 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the best quarterback in the XFL, more modern.
Yeah,
run,
Yeah,
for
I mean,
sure.
he also
Kurt
threaded the
Warner?
Lions in the NFL game. So
Yeah. Don't forget Kurt Warner, one of my favorite players all time.
Oh, yeah.
He was Arena. He was EFL. Shout him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Shea Patterson, we know he was a Wolverine. He was CFL, and now he's going to be, the quarterback for the Michigan Panthers in the USFL. So that's exciting for everybody, I think.
No,
I'm gonna-
I'm gonna about that guy.
Well, you're not. You're a Spartan, so we're on opposite ends on that.
Yeah.
I
Now,
can't.
you got an
I cannot
affiliation,
root for
you
the
gotta-
Michigan team here, even
All
though they have
three
a
of you
Michigan
guys
name,
are in
but-
or Michigan, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All three of you guys are in Michigan?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I'm with
Yeah.
3 of them. Woo!
So which
I'm
one
kinda
are you?
hardcore
Are you
Louisville.
a Bears guy or a Colts guy?
I'm a Colts guy.
All right.
Nice.
I'm
'Cause I know
Indiana.
that-
I
that
live in
Indiana
Boilermaker
can be-
country, Lafayette, Indiana.
All right,
Okay.
there you go.
They sucked in basketball, but it's all right.
It'd be like that sometimes.
They choked it away. Matt, do you have an affiliation between Michigan and Michigan State?
Oh, Michigan. All day. All day. I was,
So
I,
we're
I, I
on
was
Long Island.
That's not even a question. Yeah, I was season tickets growing up. I remember being there against undefeated Penn State, Mario Manningham back in the end zone as time expired. I've never heard a stadium like that. I get goosebumps. Oh my God. I've never heard a stadium like that in my life. So yeah, I'm Michigan all day.
You got 2 Wolverines, a Boilermaker, and a Spartan. So here you go.
Hey, listen, we got the Big Ten covered, bud.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
true.
All right.
That's true.
All right. Well, I got one more pick to give out, and it's in Major League Baseball. It's
Yeah.
tonight. I'm taking the Miami Marlins money line. I got it at -110. Now it's looking like -120. They're a little bit heavier favored. They're playing the Philadelphia Phillies tonight at 6:40. I took the Marlins last week on This Week in Sports Betting, so I'm going to double up on the Marlins this week and take them again. Does anybody get anything in baseball? Terry?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like the Astros and the Mariners. Astros got a 1.69 ERA. Marlins, 192 batting average, one of the worst in the majors. And they got a 351 ERA. So Astros money line's where I'm playing.
You meant the Mariners, not the Marlins, right?
Or Mariners, my bad.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got. Of course, my other game was the Mets -1.5 run line, and I think they covered that. Last time I saw it was 5-0.
I got one that's kind of not a popular pick or a sport as Terry has seen it on the Discord, but It's at 5:30 a.m. this morning on Saturday morning Eastern. It's in the National Rugby League in Australia. This is going to be a good game. So if you want to learn a new sport or watch it, it's between the Melbourne Storm and the Cronulla Sharks. Over is 37.5, which is lower total considering two very good teams. And the over has only hit, so this is only week 6 here of the season. And the over and the Sharks has only hit 2 times over this number, but Melbourne can score 35 alone, you know. And as you, like, if you watch rugby a little bit, you could go scoreless for half an hour and then score 20 points in 4 minutes. So it's gonna, like, I think that there's value in taking the over. It's a low over 37.5.
Okay.
It was minus 115 on DraftKings this morning.
Okay.
Interesting, something different. We got rugby now. Hey,
Yeah.
who else
I
has
got
that?
one more pick too. It's a little different as well. So me, I do primarily like NFL, NBA, and the UFC, and that's why I love covering the UFC now, because it's all year round now, and it's quickly becoming potentially the biggest sport in the world. This card is Luque versus Muhammad. So this is actually a rematch of Vicente Luque and Bilal Muhammad. They faced off a couple of years ago, and Vicente Luque knocked out Bilal Muhammad in the first round. For me, I only got one pick for this card. Not the most exciting card in the world, I'll be honest, except for the main fight, which is Vicente Luque and Bilal Muhammad. I am going Vicente Luque, double chance. I love doing the double chances with the UFC, just like you do soccer. And for this one, I am Luque decision, KO/TKO. And Vicente Luque is a more diverse fighter. He's a very good stand-up artist. Again, knocked out Muhammad before, but his wrestling is just as good as Bilal Muhammad. And to me, Bilal Muhammad, a lot of people are like, oh, he can be improving, this and that. Well, again, I haven't seen it. You know, they're both coming off wins. But when you're going against someone like Bilal Muhammad, who has had 15 decision victories of his 23 fights. He has a 20-3 record. 15 of those, so 75% of your wins are decisions. Okay. Now you're going against Vicente Luque, who Vicente Luque is the more diverse fighter. He has more paths to victory. And this is a plus 115 line for a decision or a KO for Vicente Luque. I think it's a pretty solid line because typically he's around minus 180, I believe. So that's why I like to go the double chance there. And to me, Bilal Muhammad, I don't think Vicente Luque is ever going to gain that respect. And what I mean by that is you got to get cracked. And when you get cracked, you gain that respect, so you get that distance, stuff like that. I don't see Bilal Muhammad cracking him. Again, this is the fight game. Anything can happen. But I'm on Luque here, and I really do like this pick.
Well, we had some UFC last week. I kind of spouted it off for the guy who couldn't make it because he's in California. Didn't realize we were going on at 9 a.m. his time, 12 p.m. our time. But we got a little UFC this week as well, and we're going to try to bring someone in every month for the big ones. You know what I mean? Like 273 last weekend and 274 coming up next month. Well, Matt, I appreciate you coming on. Check Matt out on Detroit Sports Bettors YouTube, Facebook, anywhere else, Twitter, right?
For sure. Yeah, if one thing I'll say too is I'm starting to do UFC cards for PointsBet. So yeah, like I'm totally down to do UFC cards with you guys. Like I love trading. I love growing everyone's brands. You know, that's what it's all about. Everybody's trying to eat. Everybody's trying to grow and get better. You know, that's what it's all about. So if you guys ever want me to come on again, do UFC cards, whatever, I'm always down. This has been fun.
Yeah. Having a great time doing it, Matt. I appreciate you coming on. Hope to have you on again. Dolceto, always a pleasure. And if anybody's got anything else, you know, now's the time to shout it out. Check out TJSaltdog on YouTube. Keep coming back to BP311 on YouTube as well. Anybody? Anything?
Nope.
All good, brother. I appreciate you having me. I'm Konanis Picks on Twitter. If you want to check that out, that's where I do most of my stuff. It's just easier. And too, like I said, I was kind of trying to take a break from Facebook and all the social medias because, like, I do a lot of social media and it gets old. So I've kind of resorted to Twitter, and just because it's like it's quick, it's like bam, plays are out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you're ever looking for me, that's where I do a lot of my stuff. And I'm going to start doing more stuff with PointsBet. Like I'm doing the NFL draft with them, NBA draft, every single big UFC card. So we'll be getting bigger on YouTube as well. So that'll be the Detroit Sports Bettors YouTube. But for right now, that's kind of what I got going on.
All right, gentlemen. Appreciate you coming on. Great show. We'll check you next week. We'll actually be coming to you on Saturday, and I'll give you a time. Check back with me during the week on the Weekday Sports Pick show for that. Let's make some money.
Hey, hell yeah. Appreciate you having me on again.
Appreciate you coming.
Nice to meet you, Matt. Nice to meet you, bud.
Let's go. Good luck.
Have fun, guys.
Take it easy.